I'm Haeju from Go Inside Global.
Hi, I'm Haley Koo. A few determinants for a happy life may include health, wealth, a stable family, and good friends. Thus, practicing meditation is beneficial in maintaining various key factors for one's well-being.
Yes, that's right. Various research has already demonstrated that meditation relieves stress, stabilizes emotion, and nurtures qualities such as empathy, love, and understanding.
Families are said to be one's closest relationship, but at times we don't even recognize them. They can be your closest allies, but at times they can be your biggest source of stress. How does meditation bring change to family and family relationships?
Today, we have Sumi London Kim, Buddhist chaplain at Yale University and the founder of the Mindful Families of Durham, joining us at the BTN studio. 안녕하세요. Hello, welcome to BTN studio.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
반갑습니다. And you actually went to the Shakadita conference. Mm-hmm. And in the Shakadita International Conference, daily morning meditation sessions and meditation of the word were conducted, and you led meditation in the conference. So this shows that the high level of interest and demand for meditation is going around in the world. So is the momentum for meditation still strong in the US as well?
Oh, absolutely. I can't tell whether the wave has crested to the peak in terms of popularity yet, but it certainly isn't subsiding. There's a very high level of interest from all different people, all different ages, all different, even different religious backgrounds.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So people are very interested in doing meditation in the US.
So that's wonderful that a lot of the U.S., especially the young people, are doing meditation out in the United States.
Right.
I think we introduced you earlier as the Buddhist chaplain at Yale University and the founder of Mindful Families of Durham. Please share with us what the Yale University Office of Religious Life is like and your role as a Buddhist chaplain.
Yeah, so the office consists of around 12 different chaplains, Hindu, Muslim, various Christian, and I serve as the Buddhist chaplain. I probably have around 100 to 150 students, both undergraduate and graduate students, involved in the community. I would say 85 to 90% of the students would not identify as Buddhist. But we do have some Asian students who have Buddhism in their family background and are seeking to reconnect with that. So I really have to work with a very wide range of students from people from Jewish, Catholic backgrounds who are looking to add some Buddhism or meditation to their tradition, to students who are rejecting their faith from their childhood, to students who are actually Buddhist, from Thai, Korean, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, all different types of those Buddhists, to those who are interested in meditation with a little bit of kind of Buddhist philosophy mixed in, but are largely atheist or secular or agnostic. So creating a program for this range of students is really a great challenge, but also a great joy.
Yeah. So you are doing meditation with them, or you are teaching Buddhist philosophy to them? What do you do with those students?
Yes, so to find a core program that works for everyone, what we do is talk about the spiritual path in a very broad sense, but we ground it in Buddhist teachings, and we use meditation as the core practice. However, I'm very careful to acknowledge that the Buddhist tradition is much vaster and more complex and richer, but we are just beginning. And that is one of the wonderful things about working with university students is that they, despite the great diversity, they are all very young, 18 to 20s, and for the most part, really they are all beginners. Even those who were raised Buddhist are now just entering their adult years, And so, in a way, they are just beginning their adult journey with Buddhism.
Okay, so where do you teach Buddhism and where do you practice meditation at Yale?
Yale has been extraordinarily generous in actually dedicating one of their most beautiful spaces in the center of the campus to the Buddhist community. It's called the Buddhist Shrine Room.
Wow.
It's spacious and lit by stained glass windows. On the altar we have a Thai Buddhist statue, the young Buddha, because our people are young. And then we also have Mahayana Bodhisattva vows in Chinese. On another wall we have a Vajrayana Tanka, and on another wall we have a Kuan Yin. So we are really trying to represent the different lineages of Buddhism so that the different types of Buddhists feel comfortable entering into that space.
It's
and of course,
wonderful.
lots of meditation cushions.
Yeah.
And I find that people really love the smell of incense.
Smell of incense. Great. It's kind of multi-Buddhist space.
It is.
Yeah.
And sometimes our Buddhists are a little bit confused because they've only been raised, for example, with Sri Lankan Buddhism, and then they come in, they don't recognize the Chinese characters or Kuan Yin. Like, what are we doing here? So it's a great opportunity for me to introduce them to the different lineages of Buddhism and provide some education that, the Buddhism you were raised with is not the only Buddhism.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the young adults and teens in Korea are also very interested in meditation. Just like the teens and young adults in the United States, we might not be, accustomed to a lot of the different lineages of Buddhism. Do you think that learning meditation during your teen years has a positive effect in their overall lifestyle and future?
Yes, the earlier that a young person can learn meditation practices, generally I find the better off they'll be in terms of regulating their emotions, managing their life, their psychology. There's a wonderful study done by Columbia professor Lisa Miller that children who are raised with a religion, even if they reject that religion as adults, navigate the turmoils of their life much more successfully than those who are not raised with a religion. And I would include in that meditation practice. I was on a walk recently with a friend of mine who's a therapist of 20 years. She works mostly with adults. And she said in exasperation, I wish all children would learn meditation. And I asked her, Lisa, is it because the adults that come to your office would know how to work with their emotions more skillfully? Or is it that in learning meditation in childhood, they would make better choices because they are more self-aware and can regulate their emotions? She said both, but ideally, the people who learn meditation as children are so much more in tune with their own psychology that they make better choices, ones that don't land them in the therapist's office. So when we teach children meditation, we are really saving them some money.
Yes, we are saving the society actually.
Also in Korea, there's an idiom, 가화만 사성, which literally translates to when one's home is happy, everything goes well. And this highlights the Korean culture, that the importance of family harmony. You founded the Mindful Families of Durham and was the primary teacher for 8 years. Can you please introduce the Mindful Families of Durham and its programs to our viewers?
Absolutely. So I started MFD, or Mindful Families of Durham, in 2010 for my children, who at the time were just preschoolers, because I had been raised with Buddhism and I knew how important it is to get these seeds early in life.
Yes, that's right.
But I didn't want to be the one telling them, this is how you practice mindfulness, this is how you do meditation, this is the teachings of the Buddha. I wanted other people to tell them because I knew that they would listen to other people and not me. So I basically started it for them. And very soon we had 10, 12 families. Now I think it's around 20, 25 families. Very popular idea at the time and continues to be popular. And so what we do is we have children go into their classes on Sunday morning, and adults, the parents, go into their meditation group. And so we have both programs running at the same time. And then we come back for a little, metta practice, and then the Sunday morning is done. We have a wonderful video on YouTube, and I would love to share it with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you can play that video.
Yes,
Right.
wonderful. And in Korea, it's very common for parents to wait outside while their children attend classes in private institutes. For meditation classes, would it be better for only the child to participate, or should the parents join as well?
Oh, I would absolutely think that the parents should join. I'd like to explain a little bit about explicit learning versus implicit learning when it comes to how our children develop and are formed.
Yeah.
So explicit learning is when we tell our child, this is how to cut the carrots, or this is how to fold your laundry. We're instructing them directly. But there is a very powerful role for what is called implicit learning. This is the nonverbal transmission of our speech patterns, the way we make decisions in the world, our behaviors, how we arrange the house, that the child absorbs without direct communication. And, any parent will tell you that surprising moment where their child says something that sounds just like them.
Yes.
Oh
Very
no.
similar. Yeah.
So in some cases that's quite delightful, but most often when we hear our children reflecting back what we typically say, we're a little bit horrified. It doesn't sound good. They can adopt our bad habits and patterns as much as our good habits and patterns. So what is the significance of this when it comes to meditation? When a parent practices meditation and begins to embody the mindfulness as they go throughout the day, as they themselves cut the carrot, as they themselves fold the clothes, the child begins to pick this up without any direct instruction, and they will fold the clothes mindfully. So I think if a parent has limited time, do I teach my children mindfulness or do I do mindfulness myself? We should prioritize the parent first, because then you get what I call a 2-for-1 deal.
Yes.
Parent becomes mindful, child automatically becomes mindful.
Yeah.
And one other point to make about parents introducing their children to mindfulness. In my experience, a lot of parents have an agenda when they seek to introduce their children to mindfulness. They believe that the child has some kind of problem or issue, and mindfulness will help fix their problem.
Yeah, that's a big issue, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But when you really observe what's going on, it's usually not the child that has the problem. It's the parent. So I have had parents come and say, my child is so hyper. I mean, please, can you help them? And I'm looking at them like, we need to work on you first.
Yeah.
So I think in many cases, it's really important for the parent to begin practicing meditation to become self-aware. What is my issue that my child has picked up from me through implicit learning? And then as they begin to heal and solve their own problem, guess what? Child's problem begins to resolve as well.
Right. So parents first.
Parents first.
Yes,
exactly.
that's very important.
And we don't want to put too much blame on the children.
Yes, that's very good. Okay.
I actually have like a question. So when you identify the issues with the parents, do some of the parents feel offended sometimes?
Oh, I wouldn't say it to them quite directly.
Right.
We actually just create a policy that this is not a child drop-off program.
Yeah.
If your child attends the meditation, you must also attend the parent meditation as well. So that way they can come to that realization themselves slowly. It would be quite offensive or maybe even hurtful to point out. maybe you have a problem and not your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard that there is a kind of mindful parenting programs in the US a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah. So what do you think about those kind of programs? What kind of things dealt with in that programs?
Yeah, I think overall they're good. You can't go wrong with more awareness, right? That's always beneficial. I think the quality of the program might depend on whether there's a way of teaching mindfulness that's very procedural, you know, mindfully wash the dishes. These are good things. But I really think that the true transformation begins when the person sits down and practices for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be long. A few minutes, and begins to come in touch with their own psychology.
So calmness is kind of contagious to our
It is.
family members.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Toddlers are prone to daily accidents, big and small. They may spill their juice, drop their food on purpose or on accident, and many moms get very annoyed at their children when their stress builds up. Do you think we can integrate spiritual practice and raising children?
I had this wonderful moment early as a mother that answers this question. So when my daughter Priya was around 5 months old, we lived in a very small apartment on the second floor with no air conditioning. It was a really hot summer, and she needed her diapers changed. And as a young baby, she was starting to roll and kick her legs, and I kept trying to get the diaper to, you know, fix itself, but it just wasn't working, and I started to sweat, and I was getting very frustrated, and I finally just put it down and I said, "Monks don't know anything about patience." And then I stopped, and I realized monks know a lot about patience, of course. But hearing myself say that made me realize, oh, this is spiritual practice. This is my temple for the next 18 years. I will be doing every act of parenting as Buddhist practice. And changing the diaper is a mindfulness practice about patience. So once I changed my mindset around what parenting was, then it became fully integrated or fused, that there's no separation. Applying spiritual practice or Buddhist practice to parenting, it is spiritual practice.
Everything is a Tao.
You really just have to change the way you're seeing it. But if you don't see it as spiritual practice, then it just feels like average every day. Okay, I need to get this done. You know? But you can't improve or learn with that mindset.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, so the mindful parenting, I think it seems like there is a kind of a supporting group needed for being the mindful parenting. So the MFD, the Mindful Families of Durham, was it community-based meditation programs or community-based meditation groups?
Yes, absolutely. We really take care to cultivate the third jewel of Buddhism, or Sangha. And actually, it's the parents' relationships with each other that really keep the community going. What's really funny is that a new family will arrive, usually to fix a problem with their child through meditation. But we say, no, you also have to go to the meditation. They start talking with other parents, and they really become very intimate. They form wonderful, supportive relationships. And over the course of a year, I will watch that although the parents came for their child at first, they end up staying for themselves.
Wow.
And recently I visited, I no longer teach for that group, And I saw that there were some old members there. Their children are in college by now, but they're still coming because of their relationships with the other parents.
Yes.
It's that powerful.
Yeah, so they are supportive to each other.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So in Korea, if you see some parents doing something wrong or doing something kind of offensive to their children, do you have any suggestions for them to make a kind of supportive groups, or how can we deal with those kind of things?
I would just say that any meditation center or temple or even churches may have some programs as well, is just to make sure that the parents have time to meet and talk with each other at some point. I think ideally it's while the children are having their program, so that the parents aren't having to take care of their children and have a conversation. Sometimes they need to talk about their children, so it's better for the children to be away. But one of the beautiful things about getting parents together to talk with each other is that there's collective wisdom. And so while one parent may not understand something, another parent will. And they'll say, oh yes, I had that problem, and here's how we solved it. And so that sharing of wisdom and knowledge benefits everyone.
But sometimes the parents gathered and they feel like they are competing each other. My child is doing like this, my child is doing like this, like that. So do you have any suggestions for?
It depends on the context, right? So if we are in a spiritual or religious center, we're not at the school, right?
Yeah.
So that's the time when the environment prompts parents to drop their ego and to be more honest with themselves and to be honest with each other. And I think that when we have parents meditate together, the self-promotion begins to drop a bit anyway. And after the meditation is done, they're in touch, more in touch with their heart.
Yeah, that's important.
So they're going to be a little bit more honest with each other. And if even one or two individuals just share, you know, I'm really struggling with this, or my child is not going to Seoul Day.
Yeah.
And so even one or two people say that, then, okay, actually I have to confess.
Yeah.
I really am terrible at changing diapers. I got so angry the other day that I almost hit my kid, right? So,
So being honest, that's the key.
Yeah, so I know that taking up meditation can take up a lot of one's time. Many parents actually give up or on meditation, and people that are beginner, they're intimidated to take up meditation because they become literally sucked into raising children.
Yeah.
You're a mother of two. What was your own experience like?
well, I was very fortunate to already have practiced and learned meditation for many, many years before I became a mother. And so I knew how to weave it in, like even 5 minutes here or there, or wait until the children are napping, and then I would practice some meditation. I think for those who haven't learned meditation but are now actively parenting young children, it is very difficult to find time and to find energy to meditate. Sometimes we're so tired that we would sit to meditate and we'll just quickly fall asleep.
Right.
So I think we may need to wait until the children are in childcare or in school to really do the 15 to 20 minutes that I would say is necessary for cultivating, for self-cultivation. But I do think that the little 5-minute meditations can be quite effective for beginners. I think in the early days of child rearing, it's a little better to think, as I mentioned earlier, about parenting as spiritual practice or as mindfulness practice. So sometimes we can change the diapers by just like thinking, what should I get on the groceries? You know, what am I missing? Maybe I'll go to this store and then that store. Like, we're kind of not really present. So we could actually choose, you know, right now, I'm going to do this diaper change with my full attention, fully connected to my child. So we can make that choice, and then changing the diaper becomes its own meditation.
That's very interesting.
Very important, yeah.
Right. So I feel that, mindfulness is about making connections as well. Because families share many things, it is said that pain and suffering of the parents are passed directly to your own children. Do you think meditation can cut out or change this pathway so that children doesn't, feel those kind of pain?
Yes, absolutely. I think we're learning more now about intergenerational trauma. Sometimes we think of trauma as something big like surviving war or some kind of assault, but there are many forms of trauma, and that can include things like an alcoholic parent, emotional abuse, where nobody actually is physically harmed, but the words are so harsh and so shaming that one's internal environment is very tortured and painful. So just to explain, there are many different ways that we could understand trauma. And I think psychologists are beginning to see these patterns. Grandfather was like this, and then the daughter was like very similar, and then that was passed to me, and now I am passing that to my child. And so we as parents actually have this amazing opportunity as we become aware of ourselves, when we begin to heal ourselves. Because of that implicit learning, we are actually also passing on good outcomes to our children, to our grandchildren, and on down. And having done a lot of this work myself, because my family has significant trauma going back many generations, what I found, not only healing myself, but I'm also healing my children and grandchildren, and I am also healing my lineage, including my relationship with my parents, and to some extent my relationship with my grandparents.
So could you introduce a few meditation techniques that can be practiced by the whole family? So for example, you have hugging meditation, walking meditation, mealtime meditation, teddy bear breathing meditation. It sounds really good. Bedtime loving kindness meditation, and so on. So what kind of meditation would you introduce to us to practice?
Well, I would like to introduce bedtime metta, because this is something that I practice with my children for 6 or 7 years. And they liked it so much that they couldn't go to sleep without us doing it first. Yes, and I think it has a very positive effect both for the children and for the adults. So, funnily enough, eventually the way that I worked with my children on bedtime metta became a children's book, which I brought here with me. Yeah, Good Night Love. And a Korean publisher has made their own version. Let's see, 잘자 사랑.
잘자 사랑.
So it's in 한국말. And this book describes how to do this meditation with children. We find that bedtime is a really beautiful time to practice metta. It helps the children relax, it helps their hearts relax, and it helps them to fall asleep. And I know every parent wants their child to fall asleep.
Yes, of course,
Right.
Yeah.
Can you please lead us the Good Night Metta meditation for us?
I'd love to do that. If you need to, you can think of your dog as part of this meditation, whatever invokes this warm feeling in our heart. So I would welcome you to, if you want to lower your gaze or close your eyes, and maybe place your hand on your heart. Yeah, and just feel your heart. Maybe sense warmth between your hand and your heart, and the hand is sending warmth and reassurance and safety into your heart. And so we'll begin with some simple phrases, practicing this loving kindness for our own selves. So think of something that you like about yourself, or something nice that you did recently that helps you feel good about yourself. And then wish for yourself, may I be happy. So you use your inner voice to wish for yourself. may I be happy. And then wish for yourself, may I be safe and protected. If you want, you can visualize something that helps you feel safe and protected. Maybe it's a force field or a radiant light or an energy surrounding your body. And then wish for yourself, may I be happy and peaceful. May I be happy and peaceful. And you can use your imagination. Whatever helps you create that feeling of happiness and peace. And now I want you to bring to mind someone who's a good friend, a teacher, a loved one, maybe a relative that you have a very loving relationship with. Picture them smiling, maybe in their favorite spot, a chair by a sunny window, and wish for them, may you be healthy. May you be safe and protected, my dear teacher or friend. May you be happy and peaceful. Using your imagination, you can picture sending them warm light filled with this wish for their happiness, safety, peace, and good health. And next we'll practice metta for something in the natural world. You can pick anything, animal, plant, mineral, land form. I think since we're in Korea, and Korea is known for her mountains, let's practice for the mountains. May the mountains be healthy. Visualizing what healthy mountains would be like. May the mountains be safe and protected. Wishing environmental protection and safety for the mountains. May the mountains be happy and peaceful. May the mountains be happy and peaceful. And lastly, picture the warm light in your heart radiating outwards so that it covers the entire world. This beautiful blue planet we call Earth, enveloping the Earth with loving kindness. And we wish, may all beings be healthy. May all beings everywhere be safe and protected. May all beings everywhere be happy and peaceful. And to close the meditation, you can let your hand go back to your lap. Take a nice deep breath in, filling your belly first. And up, up, up. And then exhale slowly. When you're ready, you can open your eyes or go to sleep. Either way.
Don't want to open up my eyes. I just want to go to sleep.
May you be happy, healthy, and peaceful. Yeah.
Wonderful,
That's
very
good.
nice.
Yeah. I think it would be great for parents doing this with their children. So
Yeah,
reading
secretly,
this.
it's not just for the children.
Yeah, reading this one and
Right.
actually practicing for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Good. Okay, so moving on to the next question. it's more related to the meditation for the whole family. So because of the COVID-19, many people have started to learn meditation online and practice it alone at home. So what preparations should we make to practice meditation effectively at home?
I do think that the apps, meditation apps, are a very good way to begin practicing meditation. Also reading books. There are a lot of good YouTube videos. But we all know that we tend to do things better when we're around other people. Like if I'm doing yoga at home, it's very, lame yoga. But if I'm in a yoga studio, I'm like really trying, right? So everybody reports that when they meditate with other people, whether it's in person or online, or even if the app has something like you're meditating with 256 other people right now, that can be such a good motivator. That social component is very important to helping us feel like we're doing it with others. We get a lot of encouragement and support. But I do get this question a lot. How do I make my meditation into a regular practice, something that I'm doing ideally every day, which I think is a little bit of a high aspiration. It really depends on the person. Gretchen Rubin, who is a wonderful philosopher and thinker, has identified that there are 4 habit types, and we are not all the same. Some of us really respond well to making lists. If I put down meditation on my list, like clean up kitchen, meditate, fold laundry, I will meditate. I have to. It's on my list, right? But that's me. That won't work for other people. Other people really respond well to having a social commitment to others. So I have 2 friends, they now live in different states, and they will text each other each time I meditated today, and the other one at a certain point, I meditated today, because they feel such a strong commitment to each other.
Supporting each other.
Exactly. Knowing that when they meditate, it helps the other person do it. They don't want to fail their good friend. But not everybody has that feeling of commitment, so they need another method. So it's important to analyze what your habit type is and then make adjustments from there. The most difficult habit type is called the rebel, and the rebel is the one who doesn't respond well from directives from the outside or even directives from their own self. And at Yale, for some reason, we have a lot of students say, oh yeah, I'm a rebel. So for those who don't do well with the command type of meditation, it's better for them to take some really unusual approaches, such as it's okay if I don't meditate, and then they're more likely to meditate. There's a little bit of oppositional. One of my rebel students at Yale said that when she identified as a meditator, she said, okay, if I say I'm a meditator, then for me that means I have to meditate in order to fulfill my identity. So we can use some very creative techniques, but we need to understand our habit type first.
So self-awareness is the first one.
Yes, knowing how do you get yourself to do something regularly.
Great.
So that in itself is a meditation, isn't it? That itself is a meditation to
That's true.
to figure out what kind of type you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Very insightful, right? And at home, how can we practice meditation daily and consistently? It's very hard actually to do it. So do you have any suggestions? How long or how often do we need to practice meditation?
Yeah, my experience is I would say between 5 and 20 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. However, people also, when they're asking how long, they're also asking about the benefit. When will I begin to see the benefit of meditation? So in my experience, meditation is exactly the same as exercise. If you do 10 minutes of exercise, you get a little bit of benefit, your heart is a little, maintaining its health, your weight maybe maintains a little bit, but you're not going to run a marathon, right? So, but if you say you do running for 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day, you improve your cardiovascular, improve your fitness, your muscles, your capacity to breathe, etc. Exactly the same amount of time for meditation. So 20 to 30 minutes of meditation every day is when you will begin to generate real and meaningful insight about yourself. The problem is many people want to do 5 minutes a day, but they expect to go to the Olympics and become a Zen master. Right?
Yeah.
No, if you want to be a Zen master, you got to do a lot more meditation.
Yeah.
But I think for the average person, we want like some fitness plus a little improvement. So that would mean 15 to 20 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week.
Oh, that's very good answer, right?
Right. 3 to 5 times a week could be a lot for some people as well.
No, really, 5 times a week is a lot. So I was working with, at University of North Carolina, working with cohorts of students in a research experiment on mindfulness. And the students who did it 3 times a week did very, very well. But the ones who did it 5 times a week, totally different.
Oh.
They had much more important and more transformative insights about themselves. It was night and day. But the 3 times a week was really good too. Yeah.
So it's better to do it daily, every day.
Ideally.
Ideally. Just like exercise.
Yeah, just like exercise. And we are constantly consuming, watching, listening, eating, and so on. And unfortunately, we also consume many harmful things like alcohol, tobacco, and drugs, as well as engaging in harmful behaviors like gambling or impulse shopping. So can meditation help overcome these issues? What are your thoughts?
From what I can tell, a number of mindfulness intervention protocols have been developed in medical and rehabilitation settings, and they are very helpful. We do know people can change their lives with some of these interventions, but not everybody and maybe not completely. So as before, often other therapeutic techniques need to be brought in because always with addiction, gambling, etc., there are deeper reasons. It's not just a behavior happening now. It comes from pain, some unresolved pain. And so again, mindfulness can help with it, but we also need some other.
Yeah. What are the reasons you noticed?
A lot of people who become alcoholic or addicted to drugs were sexually abused. They incurred domestic violence.
How about the gambling?
I'm not as familiar with that, but most addictions, many addictions for people have origins in some kind of adversity.
Okay,
Yes.
I see.
It's a way of self-soothing.
So it's a kind of related to the traumatic situations.
Yes, I can't say that I understand all of this completely, but this is what I and others have observed about how far meditation can take someone in their healing process or their addiction process. And importantly, medication is often very helpful.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to end the interview today with a question that I like to ask all the teachers that I meet on this program. In this modern society, we're filled with abundance of material things, but many people still suffer from anxiety, depression, and stress. What can we do daily to live a happy and healthy life?
I would love to hear those other teachers' answers. My answer definitely changes over the years. Right now, based on observing my own life and the lives of others, I would say the most important thing are your relationships. Having loving, safe relationships with people who care about you and you care about them reduces anxiety. It gives us something to do other than to follow our compulsions to shop on the internet. And so I would really emphasize creating quality relationships, repairing the relationships that have had some damage and trying to improve them. That is the best investment. And it creates the conditions for happiness to arise.
Wonderful. And as a practitioner, what are you mindful of in your daily life?
Right now, where I am in my own journey, is really every day I take time to cultivate an inner environment of compassion, of true love for myself, welcoming all aspects, all parts of myself, creating an inner environment of safety and care. And what I find is that when I start my day that way, then because I feel secure in myself, I'm much more available for other people. And that groundedness, that sense of self-worth actually helps co-regulate with the other person and begins to help them feel some sense of warmth and care between us and hopefully for them as well. So even though it sounds self-centered, I actually think it's a practice that in the end benefits all of us.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for your answers.
I'm sure that many parents and families will give meditation a go after listening to all your teachings and insights today. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for your insights.
Oh, you're very welcome. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. Meditation is not something separate from life or family. It becomes an integral part, transforming the way we live and how we nurture our children.
If you wish to create a better you or a happier and healthier home, I encourage you to embark on a meditation journey. Remarkable changes are bound to unfold.
Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you very much.